Hey everyone, my name's Scott, and this is another video in my series about Fujitsu air conditioners or heat pumps. So check out my other videos. I posted one of the wired controller, but today this review is about the official Fujitsu Wi-Fi module, and of course the mobile app. So I am going to come to the Wi-Fi module itself at the end, but let's take a look at the app. So we're in, and of course you can see I just have two air conditioner units. But this does support many units, so I just have two. But they would be listed here, and you would be able to scroll up and down and see them. So let's go in. Downstairs one is currently in heat mode. It's not heating right now. You have to press this button up the top to actually get the temperature in the room. The temperature shown in the middle here is the set point of the unit. So really annoying that you have to press that, but hey, it is what it is. So you can obviously change instantaneously whatever mode it's running in, and each of these has a different color. So dry is green, auto is purple, cool is blue, and fan is like light gray. Of course, it doesn't show the set point temperature in fan mode because it's just a fan. You can change the fan speed, by the way, but if you're on fan mode, you have to pick one of these settings because in auto mode it's not going to do anything. So if I want the fan on low, then I'd have to set it exactly like that. So pop this back into heat mode. So what else have we got here? So there's an on-off switch, but it's weird how they've named it because this corresponds to occupied and unoccupied. So it's not really a true off switch. Like if I turn this off, it's going to come back on at the next scheduled time. So if you actually really want to turn it off, then you need to use vacation or away mode. I forget what it's called. So if you click down here, this little button here shows you some additional settings. All I've got is economy mode. Perhaps there's other settings that would appear depending on your equipment, but that's all I've got. I think probably one of the things that people are going to be really interested in, very important, is the timer and the programming that you can do. So, just like the wired controller, you've got the possibility of setting two, sets of programs, and you can switch between them easily. If you want to turn one off and then go, start using the other one, you can do that. Easy to do. And there's this visual sort of representation of what's going on during the day. I don't find this particularly easy to read. I prefer just to go into the edit mode, where you can clearly see, the time, what it's doing, what mode it's in, the temperature, days of the week, etc. So that's how I prefer doing it. You can add multiple, settings within each program. I forget how many, but it's the same. It's whatever the system allows. I don't think it's necessarily limited by the mobile app. So I think we've looked at most of the settings. You might be wondering what this plus button does, and that is to add more units, which seems really dumb. I don't know why that's on the home screen, and in fact on every screen. It would be much better, in my opinion, if it was in the settings mode. That seems to make a lot more sense. Now, I am in cool mode right now, and actually this is one of my frustrations about Fujitsu, not just the mobile app, but also the wired controllers that we have. You cannot see what the unit is actually doing. Now, these are variable speed units, so they can be on, they can be off, they can be running at high power or low power or somewhere in between. So I actually have a really cool app, which is an energy monitor. And so I can actually go in here and I can see minute by minute what this unit is doing. So each of these columns is 1 minute of time, and you can see it was basically off. The scale automatically adjusts, but at the top here, you can see it was using only 20 watts, and then I came into the room, I turned it on, and it started jumping up 400, 600 watts, etc. But it's pretty much been using about 400-ish watts now for about, I guess it's about half an hour. But yeah, you can't see any of that. I have no idea what the unit's doing, but I really like being able to jump into my Emporia app. So I wish there was something. It doesn't need to be that detailed, but it'd be great if there was something, because these are very energy efficient units, and it's kind of interesting to know, like, how much power is it running? So that's a quick rundown of the app. In terms of improvements, I really wish that when you see each of these here on the home screen, why does it not tell you the temperature that's set at, or the temperature in the room? That would be super useful. By the way, I mentioned you do have to press this button to see the temperature in the room. By default, that's going to be the temperature at the air handler or at the mini split. If you want it to show the temperature in the room, you have to have a remote sensor and have the system programmed to use that remote sensor instead of the air handler or mini split temperature. So just to be aware of that. There's a bunch of settings. I'll pick some of the interesting ones. You can get email notifications. I'm guessing that's for error messages, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. Environment just lets you set, Celsius or Fahrenheit. Air conditioner settings. Yeah, there's really nothing to do there except unregister, which you don't want to do. You can put your air conditioners into groupings if you wish. I've just called it home. You can see errors, which is kind of useful. There have been no errors. Let me show you that again, because this is really annoying. I'm using an Android phone, and they're showing me an iOS style alert. So, boo, you can do much better than this, Fujitsu. That's lazy. Service contact is just where your installer can put in their name and phone number if they want to do that. And you can check the the firmware version of the Wi-Fi modules if you need to do that. There was one thing I wanted to show you. Oh yeah, support. So actually this is a really cool feature. They built an IFT integration, and IFT is if this then that. And it's a web service that basically lets you connect together various services and set a bunch of rules. And so the example that Fujitsu gives here actually is quite a good one, I think. You can set up a geofence so that, for example, when you leave your home, there will then be an instruction sent to turn off your air conditioners, or maybe change them to economy mode, right? So that's one thing you can do with it. You can do more. So I just wanted to point that out. It's actually pretty nice. One really crazy thing I want to quickly show you, the error Q&A list actually takes you to a web page where it then makes you download a PDF, which is not formatted for mobile. And then from here, you can look up the error codes and get an explanation. Like, this is the dumbest thing. This should be in the app. You don't need to show me an error code in the app. You can just show me what the error is in plain English. Like, come on, this is 2022. You can do a heck of a lot better. So, that said, the app's fine, perfectly functional. It's slightly rough around the edges, but it works. Like, for example, when I open the app, I see their logo, boring. I see a white screen, why? Then I see the country, and then it tells me there's no registered devices before it finally loads up each air conditioner. Like, come on, you can make a better experience than that. So that was a quick run through of the app. Let me talk about the modules themselves. So I promise I'm just about to get to the Wi-Fi module, but I do want to point out there is an alternative. If your system has an infrared remote control, this independent company, Cielo, make a device that looks and feels exactly like a regular thermostat, but it's Wi-Fi connected, and it talks to your Fujitsu system using infrared. So you don't need any Wi-Fi modules or anything else. You literally just buy this, and as long as you mount it close to your mini split on the wall, you can use their mobile app. And by all accounts, it seems to be very well reviewed. So check it out. It's definitely an option.
So let's take a look at the Wi-Fi module itself. It's very small, and I'm up in my attic because I have the Fujitsu Halcyon with an air handler. If I had mini splits, then this would be connected directly to a mini split. It doesn't come with a very long cable, 4 or 5 feet maybe. When the installer originally installed them, he just left it sitting there on top of the unit, and guess what? Didn't get a very good Wi-Fi signal there. So after a couple of times it dropping offline, I experimented by putting it in different locations, and as you can see, I just hung it from a hook there. The reason being, I'm pointing it at our Wi-Fi router, which is obviously in the house, and I'm trying to get the best signal possible. The air handlers are big metal boxes, so of course they're great at blocking the Wi-Fi. So this is my other air handler. You can see the other module hanging up there in a similar position looking at our router. So I think this is one of the main problems. If you're using Fujitsu air handlers, you're probably going to have the Wi-Fi module in somewhere like an attic or a basement where the signal may not be very good. So that's something to look out for.
This is what it looks like if one of your modules loses connection to the internet.
So like I said, a few times after install, the Wi-Fi module kept going offline, which meant I couldn't use the app, and none of the programs work if it's offline because the controls are sent from the internet. So this is an app I used, a Wi-Fi analyzer. My network name there is Tartufo. And you see that there's another Wi-Fi router, a neighbor, that's really close and interfering with ours. So I experimented by moving the Wi-Fi module around, putting it high, putting it low, moving it left, moving it right, putting it closer to the air handler, further from the air handler, until I got a better signal.
A better signal looks something like this. What you're looking for is your network name to be much higher than all the adjacent network names. So here, there's quite a gap between TEG XD1 and my network. So it's like 30 plus dBm difference. So if you can move the Wi-Fi module around and find that kind of a difference, that's what you're looking for. And since I was able to do this, the Wi-Fi module has now stayed online for a number of weeks uninterrupted. Well, that concludes my review of the FGLAir mobile app and the wireless LAN adapter. I specifically have the one that ends Z2, which just indicates what part of the world I'm in. I'm in North America. So they make ones for Europe and China. I presume all the functionality is the same, just slightly different. I have posted some other Fujitsu reviews, so please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to post some videos reviewing the performance of my system, how much power I'm using, and that could be interesting. So thanks for watching, and please like if you enjoyed this.